Hi, it's Jo, Muddy Puddles here. Good evening. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm sat here in my dressing room making this video. Sorry, I have a very cute puppy dog on my lap while I do this. So I'm at home in my dressing room making a bit of a different kind of a video. The outdoors garden, the garden at the farm, has had a bit of a setback, which you'll see later on in this video, and you may already have a heads up if you have watched any of my shorts. But I'm in my dressing room for a very exciting project. So I guess I won't tease you anymore. I will just show you. Ta-da! This is my grow tent. So at my old house, there was no space for a greenhouse or to grow anything indoors or under shelter, under glass. All my downstairs south-facing windows were French doors, so people were in and out and it wasn't possible. And upstairs, the only south-facing window was in a child's bedroom, so that wouldn't have worked either. So at much less cost than a greenhouse, I got this grow tent. That was a compromise. And everything else has been begged, borrowed and stolen from various places. So I haven't really purchased, with the exception, I lie. This was a 15 quid Wilko's job rack, which is really good. Heat mat was a Christmas present, and I like this one because it has a soil probe. You stick in the soil. As long as the soil's damp, it reads quite well. And then you just set your temperature you want in Celsius or Fahrenheit, and it automatically keeps your soil at in that temperature range. So that's a brilliant. I like that heat mat. It does it all itself. I don't have to keep checking it and switching it on and off. It does it itself. These lights belong to somebody else. I'm going to shine them. Oh, it's bright. If you go in closer, you can see there's blue, white and red light spectrum there. A double row of light cells. So that's good. And there are 4 of those. And the great thing about those, it only uses one plug socket because the end of each fitment light strip has one of these, and then the other end very helpfully has one of those. So you plug them all together and you can have as many or as few linked at one time. I've got 4 of those, so that's one for each shelf, which is really quite handy. I have some choice. So obviously somebody I know keeps fish, and they have these lights which it's Lily May. They have these lights, and these again are for growing coral, so they're specific growing lights. They have the red, white and blue spectrum again, but they have much larger quantity of light cells. They emit a much brighter light. So they're meant to penetrate the water. I don't know if it'd be overkill or whether it would be a good thing to use those instead. And the thing is it's one plug and one light strip. So I might start with one of these and see how it goes, and then swap it out when I need more shelves or more things. At the moment, I would just be growing the onions, but later on there'll be things like chili peppers and tomato starts and other things going in there, and I'll need more shelf space and more lights. So we'll see. Thoughts in the comments if you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to use these alternative light strips instead. So I quite like this setup. I did have, and it didn't work as well as I'd hoped, but it does a little bit. I did have a water reservoir and a fish tank thermometer, thanks to my fishy friend, to have like a heat sink. So keeping that full of water and keeping that at about 30 degrees kept the temperature of the grow tent stable in the night time. But it wasn't as efficient as I had hoped. It seems like the plastic box insulates water from the outside air, and if you take the lid off the box, obviously you then get a lot of condensation inside the grow tent, which you don't really want. to grow moulds and things. So that may well come out this year. The other thing I have, because obviously it's a closed-up system, the door zips tight and you don't have any light coming out. So I have this tube coming in, and that is linked to this giant extractor fan, which blows air in and through. And then I do have, but I haven't been able to find them, I'm going to have to root around in the garage in the boxes and find them, clip-on fans that I just hang on from the ends, hang and blow under the shelves, just across the where the leaves would be, just to circulate the air gently backwards and forwards, to prevent any mildew or mould forming. So that's my indoor growing setup. And back to the seeds. Okay, so I have these Foster seeds, the Elsa variety. They arrived about 10 days ago, and that's because I'm going to join Pete Tranalf on his largest onion challenge. He's run it for a few years. I've never tried to grow a big onion. I've grown tasty onions, I've grown medium-sized onions, I've grown tiny onions, I've grown spring onions and Welsh onions and walkover onions, and onions from seeds and onions from sets, but never a giant onion. So this will be the first for me. So that should be a lot of fun. Okay, and now I guess it's time for the update from the farm. Okay, this is quite a tricky video to make. I've had a bit of a disaster. I was in the process of starting to collect seeds, and I was doing really well. There's a single calendula flower head I collected, a few mange tout peas, but most of the pods were drying on the plants. A little bit of queen and lace seed heads to process and get the seeds out of. Some poppies and about a dozen hardy geraniums. Those are some radish seeds, but I don't know if they're viable, and they're only radish seeds. I'm not too worried about those. But these are my other calendula heads I was allowing to go to seed and waiting for them to dry. I don't know if they'll be viable seeds, having them the lambs chewed them off the plants. So I don't know if they'll be viable seeds if they have come off the plants green or not. If you know, put the answer in the comments. But basically, the lambs broke into the garden and they have eaten everything. There are no fruit trees, there are no blackcurrants, there are no blueberries, there are no strawberries, there are no raspberry canes, there is no honeyberry bush, aronia berry, goji berry, no fig trees. My cherry tree's gone, my apple trees are gone. My quince tree's gone, my rhubarb is gone, my onions have been eaten down level with the ground, as of most of my herbs. There are no flower heads to collect seeds from, there's nothing left to grow, they ate all the tops of all the vegetables. The only thing they left were pumpkins and some of the sweet corn. So I am starting from the beginning. I'm trying to be positive and go, well, I get to choose my plants all over again. But wow, this is a hard one.